CNBC TV18 presents the AI Dialogues in association with IBM.
Vishy, coming to you now, CFOs, of course, need a very clear understanding of how high impact projects will tap into their resources, whether it's human resources, whether it's monetary resources, whether it's your technical resources and investments. Now, at IBM, how are you helping financial institutions and the banking sector in particular in optimizing their AI deployments? Give us a few examples of what your customers are up to and what are some of the early success stories that are coming out?
Yeah, thanks for having me here, Mridu, and a pleasure to have the esteemed people out here in the panel. A couple of things, Mridu. One is, let me start off, step back and give you a prologue in terms of, we did a recent study of a lot of financial institutions, especially the CFOs. And I would say we identified about 6 power moves, if I were to say, with the CFOs, right? The first one, I would say, is how can the finance organization become a compatriot to the technology, the CIO or the CXO in the technology side, right? So it's no more separate domains. They're kind of more or less getting into an overlapping zone of how finance CFOs become a technical alliance to the CIO and vice versa, right? So it's going beyond the domain expertise, right? So that's one big power move. What it really helps is in terms of looking at new areas where finance would like to see how the business grows. Because at the end of the day, the fundamental driver for any bank or any institution for that matter is business growth at the right profitability, right? And of course, not compromising on the consumer or the client experience and at the same time enhancing productivity. The second one is, of course, being that show me the ROI, right? As a CFO, that's the immediate reaction, right? Okay, this great technology does a lot of things. Show me the ROI, right? That's the second power move, if I were to really say. Does it enrich the consumer or the client experience, or does it enrich productivity of my people down there? Am I able to put them in the high skill? So immediately what comes is ROI. The third piece is actually putting the execution, like I would put the yin-yang story out here. Like execution is the yin of the strategy's yang. Testing waters in some places right now, wetting feet, but can we accelerate this at scale, right? Yeah. That's where execution at scale comes into play. Fortunately, we are in land which is a growth country, and with a scale of our size, you can't have a better test than that, right? So the execution is the third power move. The fourth is, of course, regulations. Being the banking and the securities and stockbroking, and for the matter, even insurance, right? Highly regulated industry. So you have guardrails around that. How do you manage the risk and compliance by adopting these technologies? Because that's very, very critical. So that is something which comes in. I would say AI, data is the AI's oxygen. And last but not the least is, of course, you have talent, right? So, and investing in talent, especially in the finance domain, that while the domain knowledge is important, the financial knowledge and the talent is important, but there needs to be a layer of technology inbuilt into it or embedded, right? Because I would say AI is kind of what Netscape did to browsers is what AI is doing today. So you need to have the domain expertise of the financial background, but also the AI, right? So we are helping clients across each one of these areas, right? Be it in terms of call center optimization, be it in terms of document summarization, be it in terms of summarizing, say, balance sheets and records, be it doing sentiment analysis of client experience, of just using a mobile app of a bank, and so on and so forth. So there are numerous examples. And it can go at scale as well. So that's just to give you a perspective of some of the areas around these 6 pivots, if I were to really put that across.
Venkat, if I can come to you with that. Now, of course, AI is becoming more and more critical to financial planning, to our operations. How do you then, in a regulated entity like a bank, balance innovation with regulation and compliance?
We can try various things, but at the end of the day, as long as we are compliant and addressing the risk or having the risk mitigants in place, I think we should be, and we are trying it out in several areas. For example, we have recently signed an MOU with RBIH, which is the Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. There's a tool called Bashini, which is multilingual capabilities being integrated with our chatbot, Fedi. So Fedi can now, it's called Fedi. Oh. That's the AI chatbot of Federal Bank.
Interesting.
So that's been integrated and we are going to try it out. So we have to try these experiments, but like I said earlier, we need to be cognizant of making sure that we're compliant. Data privacy is another big thing which is coming into play. Customer data has to be, protected. Another way of looking at it is there are certain tools which are already existing in organizations prior to AI. Now, robotic process automation is something which many banks and institutions already have been using. Like we use it extensively for our reconciliations. How do I overlay AI on top of it to make sure that we have the accuracy and also we draw insights from it? So where AI helps is also what additional benefit we can get out of it. There was a discussion earlier about ROI. The ROI has to be looked at it from a business outcome perspective. If I'm just going to look at how many AI models I used or how much data I processed, there's no point. It doesn't give any business ROI. What I need to then do is, okay, what is the benefit which is there to the customer? Is it a better experience? Is it a faster experience? Are we getting better insights which the frontline can use to take decisions? So one needs to look at it from that perspective as well. Very recently, the regulator also spelled out the need for cybersecurity and enough controls when we are using the AI tool. So it is of paramount importance, and whatever we do in such a way that we are compliant with the regulatory requirements. And banks being an institution where we deal with people's money and customer data, huge data flows through banks. So the responsibility is with us to make sure that we balance that with the adoption of new technologies.
Well, I also want to touch upon how banks are balancing this AI-driven personalization with the human touch, because eventually you are dealing with people's money. When we are talking especially high net worth individuals, you're talking huge amounts of wealth that they are putting in your banks. People who have complex portfolios, they still tend to trust humans more than they trust machines. So how do you then balance that human touch? What is it that you outsource to AI, and what are the areas of operations that will clearly remain with humans for the foreseeable future?
So what I'll say, the biggest advantage of AI is that it can process a lot of data in a very short period of time. So it's your ability, how much information you have available and you have extracted, which you can be used by your AI to process that information. So look at a case of a wealth customer. So once you have, or behaviorally you have studied where he's investing, where he's spending money, what kind of investments are there. So you can use that information two ways. One, to bring user experience for that customer. You can keep on updating. So imagine a case when you log in, a customer logs in and system gives you information. Here you spend money, these are your investments, these are your returns, and supported by voice command. I want to know what is my 1 month return. I just tell the system, okay, give me my 1 month return, and it's within a second, it's available on screen. So everybody will be happy with that kind of experience. So it's the experience you kind of bring. On the other side, when from a manufacturing side, I also know where the largest transactions are happening. So I can also negotiate with the manufacturer to get a better deal for me and a better deal for the customer.
CNBC-TV18 presents the AI Dialogues in association with IBM.